What's up, guys? This is Anthony Ravasio here with Ethan Miller. We're going to be going over some college football predictions. We've got a little bit of betting stuff for you guys. Let's just get right into it. First, we're going to talk about the SEC. Uh, Personally, for me, I've got Alabama and Georgia. I really think both these teams could go undefeated, especially Georgia again, which is crazy to say. But that's not because I think Georgia is uh, just as good. I thought they got worse, and I was actually reluctant to put them in the SEC championship game. But their division is not that good at all. They've got a really easy schedule
Yeah,
this year, so I think that they are in the driver's seat. Bama's got two of the best players in college football. Um, Favorable schedule besides two maybe L's to Arkansas or Mississippi State. At least I think Mississippi State could maybe give them a run for their money. What do you think, Ethan?
yeah, man. I'm kind of on the same page as you. Georgia they did get worse, but at the same time, like you said, it's like look at the rest of this conference. Like you got A&M at plus 1,800. They're the third best odds to win it. Bama's the favorite at minus 140. Georgia second odds at plus 160. Watch out for Ole Miss though. I know you like Ole Miss, Jackson Dart. Lane Kiffin, that fire offense, man. Watch out for them. They always give Bama a run for their money. So. As far as the championship game, though, I think it's most likely we see a Bama versus Georgia SEC championship.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss definitely a lot. Their win total is at 7.5 right now. They realistically could be at 9-0 before playing
Yeah,
Bama and at Arkansas to finish out the season. I think it's definitely doable that they could make some noise. Um, Next, let's go to the ACC. Um, I'm a Pitt fan. I've got the shirt on.
yep.
The ACC championship last year. I'm personally thinking that they can do the whole thing again. I've got Pitt versus NC State. They returned all five offensive linemen from last year, and then they're almost an entire defense. Their defense
hmm
is always at the top in sacks. Most of their D line is back. A good amount of their players are back, and I honestly didn't think that a lot of the team was Jordan Addison and Kenny Pickett last year. Obviously, they're both going to be very missed. But at the end of the day, their receiving core is still fine. They've got a really deep running back room. What do you think, Ethan?
Who
I
was the
personally like both of these teams.
who was the quarterback they brought in this year?
Keenan Slovis, yep.
Slovis. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Slovis. Slovis is going to pick it up right where Kenny Pickett left off, man. I agree with you. I think Pitt, and here's the thing about Pitt, man. They're plus 1,400 to win the ACC. They're the
That's
third
crazy.
best. They're the third best odds. Clemson's the favorite at minus 140. Obviously,
Which is absurd.
Clemson's Clemson. Like you said, the quarterback problems. Who are they going to start? Ukulele or the other guy? I mean, it was a down year for them last year. Even though they still got 9 wins last year, it was still just it wasn't right. And there were better teams in the ACC, and I probably expect that again this year. Miami, they brought in Mario Cristobal plus a whole bunch of transfers. They're going to be good this year. They're plus 600. NC State with Devin Leary, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. NC State has been on the rise in recent years, and I think they're going to truly show it this year. They're plus 800. And then, like I said, you got Pitt at plus 1,400. This is going to be a dogfight for the championship in this division, truly. I don't know, man. I'm not going to make a championship prediction on this division right now, but give it what you got with those odds, and like you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pitt in it.
Yeah, I think Pitt could do. I think Pitt could do it. I think NC State's really the best team in the conference. I'm
Yeah,
behind Clemson. Their defense is great, but like you said, they've got a quarterback situation they need to figure out. Devin Leary is plus 8,000 to win the Heisman, which is behind Slovis, believe it or not, at Pitt, and a lot of other really good players. I think that's crazy ridiculous.
yeah,
Crazy good value there if you want to hammer that.
definitely worth a flyer on a plus 8,000 when you got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and a Heisman is pretty much a quarterback award. I think that's a great value bet right there.
Absolutely agree. All right, let's go to the Big 12 now. We've got Baylor versus Kansas State. I've got Baylor versus Kansas State. So this is probably the biggest. The most open conference out of all the conferences.
Yeah,
You've got Baylor, you've got Kansas State, you've got Oklahoma, you've got Oklahoma State. A lot of good teams. What do you think, Ethan? I'll let you go first for this one.
yeah, man. You got Oklahoma, the favorite, at plus 200, and they're pretty much tied with Texas at plus 250. Vegas thinks that these two teams are pretty much going to be neck and neck for the Big 12. But I think we're going to see – there's a good chance we see a rematch of last year's championship game, which was Oklahoma State versus Baylor. Oklahoma State, they're returning a lot of guys. They got that fourth-year quarterback in Sanders. And they did lose their defensive coordinator to Ohio State, but they're still a loaded team. And they still I believe last year they lost to Baylor, correct?
They did.
Yeah, and it was I'm almost positive it was on some last-second crazy play. So they're going to be –
Oh, you know what? No, though. That was at Oklahoma State.
That was?
Yes, yeah. I
Yeah,
definitely remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like they're just going to come out with a different type of fire energy this year and really, I think they're going to play good. And they got a good coach and a good quarterback, so that's all I'm looking for right there. But for the rest of them, I think Oklahoma, I'm going to give them a little bit of time. I want to see, how all the departures leaving them and then bringing in that new staff. I want to see how that works out first before I think they have a good shot to win it. But yeah, you got Texas too, man. They got a whole lot of new fun energy there with Arch Manning signing. But you still got Quinn Ewers at quarterback and Bijan Robinson is a Heisman candidate at running back. Steve Sarkisian head coach. So I think they'll be good this year too. Like you said, it's going to be a wide open division.
Yeah, and as for some bets that I wanted to go over, I actually like Kansas State. I know a lot of people. It's a very underrated team. I think that they're going to be way better than people think. Maybe a team that people just don't even realize is good. But I think they're good. They brought in Adrian Martinez from Nebraska. If he gets his interception problem under control, he's a great quarterback. Deuce Vaughn's one of the better running backs in the entire nation, let alone the Big 12. They've got a solid offensive line, an All-American offensive tackle, and Cooper Beebe, and solid returning depth on defense. So I feel like they could. A lot of teams we talked about, like Texas has an iffy offensive line. Oklahoma State lost a lot on defense.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, even though they're pretty good everywhere else. So just a lot of unknowns for those teams. I feel like Kansas State has the least amount of unknowns next to Baylor. Obviously, Baylor's defense is still great. One of the best D-lines in the nation. Dylan Doyle is one of the best linebackers in the nation. Top offensive line. So that's me. That's mine. We can go to the Big Ten next.
Yep.
And I think you and I are in the same in agreement here, Ethan.
Yeah, I think most of America's in the same agreement here.
Yeah. Go ahead. So I have Ohio State, Wisconsin. I think you do too. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's Ohio State. They're minus 200 to win the Big Ten this year. Unless tragedy strikes for this team, they're going to win it. They're one of the best teams in the nation right there with Alabama. Would not surprise me if they went undefeated this year. Just look at the talent, C.J. Stroud, Smith and Jigba. That defense is always stacked. They're going to be good. You got Michigan. They're the second favorites at plus 800. They're in that same division with Ohio State. So, I don't think we see the same Michigan we saw last year. They lost Aiden Hutchinson. They lost, a couple other guys too. So I don't think we see that same Michigan team. So I think Ohio State is going to run away with that division. And I think we see, Wisconsin, they play in that other side of the Big Ten. It's pretty weak. It's either going to be Wisconsin or Iowa, but I think it's going to be Wisconsin and Ohio State in that Big Ten championship game. You got Wisconsin at plus 1,200 to win it all, to win the Big Ten. So, if you think they're going to be in that championship game and something happens to Ohio State, maybe that's worth a flyer. You get a hedge spot somewhere in the future, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that with you and Ohio State. And Wisconsin's the best team in their division, but their division's not that great. As for Ohio State, C.J. Stroud and Trayvon Henderson coming back. Best offensive line in college football. Top 3 receiving corps. Defense should be improved from last year, and even that defense was still not that bad. So I think they can go undefeated as well. Wisconsin's just got an easy schedule, like I said, because of their division. As for bets for this conference, I didn't like a lot, but I do like Ohio State over 11 because even if they lose one, that's still a push.
Right.
And I personally don't like Penn State, not just because I'm a Pitt fan, but just because I don't like Franklin. I don't think he's a good game decision-making coach, and he's shown that he's not. I don't like Clifford. Clifford hasn't shown enough to me for me to think that they'll be better this year.
And Penn State's they're at 8.5.
Yeah, and they've got to play Auburn, Michigan, Ohio State. Plus, they usually lose a few to, regular Big Ten opponents. So,
yeah.
That's. I don't know about you for the Big Ten. I don't know if you like those, but
I think that's worth it. I think there's a really, really good chance we see Ohio State go undefeated this year. So, like you said, it's probably going to happen. And at the worst case scenario, you're going to push out your bet. I think there's more of a likely scenario that they go undefeated rather than get 2 losses. So I think that's a pretty good damn bet. And I think that Penn State bet's worth the flyer too. I kind of agree. I'm not the biggest Penn State supporter. I think, Clifford and Franklin, I'm not the biggest supporters in them. So I could see that. I could definitely see them getting, 8 wins or 7 wins and, winning that bet there. So I like it.
All right, let's move on to the last conference. We've got the Pac-12 now. To me, it's kind of between 2 or 3 teams in this conference, and then there's everyone else. I personally have Utah, USC. I know you do not. To me, USC, when you can buy the offseason and just win the offseason with the amount of people they brought in,
Yeah,
they're going to be good. I mean, they've got Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison. That's going to be one of the craziest duos in college football. They've got a good scheme with Lincoln Riley's offensive scheme. They brought in Travis Dye. The defense is definitely the issue. It was last year. It was the year before. It's still the issue. They need to gel. Riley brought in a lot of transfers, but again, they're all playing together for the first time, so we really don't know about USC, and that could be their downfall still again. And I've got Utah. I know you have Utah as well. Very strong defense. Cam Rising's a dog. The offense returned to us. Everyone that averaged 38 points per game in the Pac-12 last year, which is absurd. What do you think? Let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, man. It's like you look at the, Vegas has USC as the favorite at plus 150, and it's like they're gonna get, Vegas has to put USC there because there's a lot of USC fans in the nation. A lot of people are going to be betting on USC. They're heavy public favorites right now. So they have them as the favorite at plus 150. Like I said, I think I'm going to give them a few more years. I agree with what you said. I mean, obviously, if you can buy the offseason, that's huge. They have so much talent on this team. But I just want to give, because, I mean, let's not forget they went 4-8 last year. Like you said, the defense, it has problems and it needs help. And so I think I want to give this team just a little bit more time to, build some chemistry and really build that culture and foundation that Lincoln Riley truly wants at USC. I think there's a really good chance we see another rematch here in this Pac-12 division with Oregon versus Utah in the championship game. Oregon with Bo Nix coming there this year. I think that, Oregon's always a good team. They're always a good run foundation. I think there's a good chance. And the Pac-12 is weak, man. Arizona State's not doing nothing. Colorado, Washington, Arizona, none of these other teams are going to do nothing in this division. It's a pretty weak conference. So I think there's a good chance we see Oregon and Utah. Utah, I think, is one of the best teams in this conference. And I think Utah at plus 300 to win the Pac-12 is probably one of my best bets I'll give out today.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I both, I go to ASU. You're from Arizona. We know about ASU.
Yep.
I personally don't think they're going to be good at all. Their over and under set is 6.5, and I actually thought that was too low. Or too high. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They've got to play Oklahoma State, Utah, USC, Oregon State. And then even they won't be good enough to where they can even beat like average teams. I just don't think that they're all that.
I wouldn't be surprised me if Arizona had a better record than Arizona State.
They might lose to U of A this year.
They might. That's
a whole other conversation. I mean, They lost a lot of transfers. There's no proven receivers. They've got Emory Jones, who I don't even like, from Florida. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I've got also for another best bet for Pac-12, Oregon State over 6 wins. I feel like they've got 6 in the bag with Boise State, Fresno State, Montana State, Cal, and Colorado. That was 5, right? Yeah, I said no. Yeah, and Montana State, sorry.
Gotcha.
And then it's not even count ASU, Stanford, Washington State, and then Oregon, USC, Utah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good one too. Anything else for Pac-12?
No, man, that's it. Like I said, Utah is, every other division or every other conference, the favorite to win is either minus money or you got Oklahoma, which is plus 200. If you think, like I do, that USC needs some time to get under the belt and they're not quite ready for that championship to win the Pac-12, Utah plus 300 will repeat. They're bringing back so many starters. They're, good head coach, great run team. Utah plus 300, one of my favorite bets.
All right, so that'll do it from us. Don't forget to go subscribe to the TWSN Patreon. Ethan's given a lot of college football picks there. I mean, more futures, all that stuff. We've got baseball bets every day. We're doing well. Malik's rocking UFC stuff. So definitely go check that out. And yeah, come back for next time.
Yep.